In this installment, we're going to be going over the Week 3 early slate, all the 1 o'clock games. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Week 3 NFL early slate we got going on. But before we deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetChefD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91, and don't forget about that Patreon. Right now at the homepage of the YouTube channel, currently at 10.2 thousand subscribers. This is the road to 20K, and we're well on our way because you guys are showing up each and every single day. If you're already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm so you can grow to a much higher audience. All right, now for our last video that we had on Thursday Night Football, it was a complete sweep. I gave out the cover for the Dolphins despite all the negativity that was in the comment section, like, oh, how the Buffalo Bills not gonna blow out the Dolphins? Like, really? This is an in-division matchup. The coaches, everything was on the line for McDaniels. All right, they came up short, but they played valiantly in that game. They showed up, which I expected them to, and covered the number. And we gave out the over as well. So that was a sweep on Thursday. Continue to lock in, man. This is NFL season. This is when we really destroy the books. So get locked in here. Continue to show up and show out with the views, with the comments, and make sure you subscribe. Do not miss out. This is when we go to another level when it's NFL football season. All right. In the group chat, like I said, that same day we had an early play with the Mets. And then we doubled that over and brought it over to the Miami Dolphins. Add the boost on there just to be safe, and that cashed as well. We also had Tyreek Hill for a touchdown. I don't know if it's still here, but yeah, I posted it. But Tyreek Hill for a touchdown we had as well. Some people cashed in on their parlays with Dalton Kincaid as well. Everyone was sharing these parlays. We did very good on WNBA with the Fever without Caitlin Clark. As you can see, there you go. Tyreek touchdown. That cashed as well. So solid plays here. Join the community that you can see. You see winning plays, winning posts, discussions, all 24/7. Click on that link provided down below. You're going to get access to daily bets, future bets, and access to this group chat that goes off 24/7. First up here in Huntington Bank Field, we have the Cleveland Browns going up against the Green Bay Packers here. Both teams are complete opposite. Packers are 2-0, Browns struggling 0-2. Must-win game here for the Cleveland Browns in this one. Checking out the odds, we have the Packers coming in as road favorites, minus 450, with the comeback of the Browns at a plus 340. Total spread at 8.5. Total points at 41.5. All right. Public bet percentage here, 97% of the bets, 99% of the money, all over the Green Bay Packers here in this one. For the point spread, 56% of the bets coming in on Cleveland, so public, but 55% of the money, the sharps, is coming in on the Packers to cover the 8.5. Total points at 41.5 under. All right, 75% of the bets, 77% of the money. All right. So two strong performances from the Green Bay. Obviously, elite defense that we've seen from them. Cleveland Browns struggling. Played tough like always against Cincinnati, but Baltimore coming off, that was a spot game where you could see that coming in. Baltimore coming off that embarrassing loss, they were going to put boot to behind against the Browns, so that was obvious with that 41-17 spot. Now it's kind of a regroup for the Browns coming back home. You get an elite opponent in the Packers, but you also get a defensive opponent. So it is going to be an offensive struggle here on both sides. Cleveland Browns have a strong defense. Packers have an elite defense. All right. So definitely I like the under in this one, under 41.5 if we're going with a total play. My main play here with the total, it's in a must-win situation. You really hope that Joe Flacco, he is their best chance to put some offense, at least as of right now, because Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders need a lot of time for them to get going. But Joe Flacco gives this offense the best opportunity with the weapons that they do have to keep this game close. All right, and I think that at home for the Cleveland Browns, love the Packers to win, but there's no value in that. I would have to lean towards the Browns in the points. You're giving me more than a touchdown. In Cleveland, I'm backing up that defense. Let's check on the injury report as well. For the Packers, Tucker Kraft, he is going to play. Despite the fact he got that DNP, they made a report that he will be expected to play. That's a big boost for the tight end position. Jaden Reed is out for a while with that shoulder. And Zach Tom, their O-lineman, is highly questionable. For the Browns, Joel Bitonio, highly questionable with 3 DNPs. That could be a big loss at the guard position. DeAndre Carter, questionable. Jack Conklin, questionable, but trending towards playing. Mike Hall, D-tackle, is going to be out. And then their kicker is going to be questionable. We'll see what happens there for confirmation earlier in the day. All right. I love the Packers to win, but if we're going with value, I'm going to lean towards the plus 8.5 with the Browns at home. All right. But matter of fact, the top play is going to be the under. So favorite play in this one, under 41.5. Secondary play will be Browns plus 8.5, just to keep it close enough. Bouncing back from that embarrassing loss in Baltimore. They're going to be home in this one against the Packers. Packers dealing with a lot of injuries, wide receiver wise. They're gonna have to rely on Matthew Golden. He has like 2 catches the whole entire season. They have no catches. I don't think. How many catches does Golden even have? Did he get a catch yet? I know he has had something. He has 2 catches this whole entire season. So he's gonna have to step up. They got a lot of question marks with Jaden Reed out. Dontavian Wicks is gonna have to step up now. It's between him, Romeo Doubs. Despite that, the Packers have been leaning on that defense in the running game. But Browns are very strong at stopping a run, and they're probably going to force them to use these young wide receivers that they do have in the Green Bay Packers. So, like I said, under 41.5 main play, secondary play, plus 8.5 with the Browns. In Nissan Stadium here, we have the Tennessee Titans 0-2 going up against the Indianapolis Colts 2-0. Looking at the current odds for this matchup here, we have the Colts as road favorites minus 220 with the comeback of the Titans at a plus 180. Point spread at a 4.5. All right. Total points at 43.5 for the over under, and for the public bet percentage, 93% of the bets, 95% of the money all over Indy. Point spread here, 52% of the bets coming in on the Tennessee Titans to cover the 4.5, 72% of the money for the Colts to cover that 4.5. So sharps and public are definitely on opposite sides of this number. Very awkward total here. It's not 3, it's in between 7. It's really a weird number. So you need more than a field goal for this point spread to come through. All right. For the total points, 74% of the bets, 61% of the money coming in on the under. Slightly sharps are trending towards the over 43.5. All right. This total is kind of low. If you're looking at how strong this Colts offense has looked. 33-8 against Miami, 29-28 against Denver off of that leverage call, which allowed them to get the game-winning field goals. So that was controversial, but much deserved here for the Colts winning going 2-0. Tennessee Titans have played valiantly in their first 2 games against very tough opponents, against Denver and the LA Rams, but the cream rises to the top here, and they kind of falter in that second half, especially in that Rams game. They played tough, but it was just too much talent on the side of the Rams, and they pulled away. I see a very similar situation this one here with the Colts, how they've looked phenomenal with Daniel Jones and the running game with Jonathan Taylor. They're going to have to answer that call here when we're talking about rushing yards against per game. They're allowing 150. That is not good. That is not good when you're talking about a team that is 3rd in the league at 161 yards rushing per game with Jonathan Taylor and DJ Giddens. Not to mention the fact that Daniel Jones has been very fluent, and I feel like this is going to be put the Titans in a situation where they're going to have to play catch up and force Cam Ward to throw the ball. All right. So in this one here, I am going to go with the Colts to cover the minus 4.5 as the main play. Secondary play, I'm going to go and lean towards the over 43.5 in total. Next up in US Bank Stadium here, we have the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Cincinnati Bengals here. Vikings are 1-1. Cincinnati Bengals are 2-0, and these two teams have very similar situations dealing with their number one QBs. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Looking at the odds, Vikings are at home favorites, -155 with the comeback of the Bengals at a +130. Point spread at 3. Total points at 41.5. For the public bet percentage, 67% of the bets and 56% of the money on the side of Minnesota. For the point spread, 60% of the bets and 62% of the money on the side of the Bengals. So people are like split down the middle between money line and the points here on both sides. Total points, 80% of the bets, 77% of the money towards the under 41.5. That one I probably like the most. All right, but the issue in this game here, both starting QBs are out. JJ McCarthy is going to be out for 4 weeks, and then unfortunately Joe Burrow has that severe turf toe, and he's going to be out for 3 months. He needs surgery. So there's 2 backup quarterbacks, Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning here in this matchup. Obviously, we have a long history of Carson Wentz ups and downs, but this, if anyone is going to help fix his yips, it's going to be Kevin O'Connell, all right, and his offense, okay? For the Bengals, Jake Browning has looked pretty good the last couple preseasons here, becoming more of a deadlier passer, but it's going to be a lot to try to replace Joe Burrow, okay, obviously. And you should not expect this Bengals team here to be, despite the fact that they got great weapons, to be an elite offense, okay? This game here is going to lean towards an angle. If we're looking at the injury report, I'll show you right here. Right now, we got Shamar Stewart, their rookie. He's going to be out. Cam Taylor-Britt is going to be out there, cornerback. We got questionable on DJ Turner, another corner for the Bengals. For the Minnesota Vikings, Ryan Kelly is out. JJ McCarthy is out. Justin School, tackle, is going to be out with a concussion. Austin Keys is questionable, and Van Ginkel should be back in this game. That's a positive. And Christian Darrisaw should be back in this game. That's a positive for the Vikings. All right. Now, in this game here with no Aaron Jones, they're going to be leaning on Jordan Mason in this one. So I see a very run-centric game from the Minnesota Vikings, and they have a defense that they can lean on. And a defensive coordinator that can lead on with Brian Flores that is very dominant and very good with coming up with schemes and blitz packages against their opponents. I think Jake Brown is going to be in some trouble here, and I like the Vikings across the board. So you could even go with the under 41.5. I love that play. Also, main play, we're just going to take the money line. Give me the Vikings on the money line. Secondary play, under 41 in the total. All right, love Jordan Mason in this game. It's going to be defensive and a lot of running from him. In Gillette Stadium here, we have the New England Patriots 1-1 going against the Pittsburgh Steelers 1-1. Looking at the current odds for this matchup here, we have the Steelers as road favorites -125 with a comeback of the Patriots at a +105. Point spread here at a 1.5. It was at a 2. It has gone down since money's coming in on the Patriots. All right. For the total points, 44.5. Public bet percentage, 69% of the bets, 73% of the money on Pittsburgh. For the point spread, 83%. Public is going to be on the side of the Patriots. And for the percentage of money, 53%. Sharps are on the side of the Steelers to cover that 1.5. For the total points, 77% of the bets, 80% of the money towards the under 44.5 in the total. All right. Looking at the injury report here, there's a ton of injuries on the side of the Steelers. They're missing key guys on the defense. Joey Porter is out. Deshaun Elliott is out. Alex Highsmith is out as well. Matt Sharpring is out as their guard. So they're missing a lot of key components. Patriots are dealing with their own issues. Christian Gonzalez, he hasn't played this season yet, and he's going to be out yet again in week 3. Everyone else is fine for the Patriots. All right. Now, in this one here, the Steelers have been dominated on the run. They've given up over 100 yards to Breece Hall, and they gave up over 100 yards to Ken Walker and a touchdown. So they've been getting gashed in that running game. And the New England Patriots have plenty of running backs to definitely run all over the Steelers. In this one, Ramondre Stevenson, Trevion Henderson, and Antonio Gibson all are their guys that they're going to be able to use against this Steelers defense. Not to mention that Drake May is coming into his his own already as a young passer here. Showed good signs against Miami, and now he gets a softer secondary here with the Steelers. And if they're getting that run game going, it's going to make everything much easier for Drake May to get it to his options that he has as receiver. All right, so I think there's a ton of value on the Patriots here. Give me the Patriots plus 1.5 as the main play. Secondary play will be under 44.5 in the total. In Everbank Stadium here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Houston Texans here. Classic AFC South battle here. Texans were undefeated last season in their division, and they're coming into this situation trying to get a win. All right, in the column, Houston, I don't know how they are. I'm really disgusted on and how they lost that game against Tampa Bay. That game, they should have had that game easily with the numerous injuries that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had on the offensive line. And I literally watched them give the game to Baker Mayfield. Why are you blitzing when you're getting to Baker Mayfield with 4 guys, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson? You're getting there with no issue. Why wouldn't you just rush the 4 guys and play coverage and force Baker Mayfield to sit in the pocket? You got to keep him in front of you. Why would you blitz and open up lanes to give opportunities so he can run out of the pocket? It did not make any sense at all. D'Amico Ryans. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be a defensive guru, and you had them. You had the game. The game was over. Matter of fact, I even heard Tampa Bay, they let Nick Chubb score so they can give Baker Mayfield more time. That is insane. That is insane. And they had enough confidence, despite the fact that line was garbage, that they even pulled that off and let Baker Mayfield kill them throughout the whole entire drive. They walked them. Every single play was a blitz. Why are you bringing 6 and then there's just the whole middle's open? What? I don't even care about breaking down this because I want to go on a rant. That's insane. This team right here, I thought the Jaguars were bad, and they're tough because Trevor Lawrence is very inconsistent. The Texans is on a whole nother level, especially this season. They got lucky last year. Like I said, they were undefeated in the AFC South. This is a team that I was very adamant on with the under. If you were with the futures, I love the under win total for the Texans. I did not trust this team at all, especially with no run game and no offensive line, and you expect to throw the football. That's not gonna work. You have a great defense, but that's not gonna work. Going to the odds here, Jaguars are favorites minus 125. Texans come back on a plus 105. Point spread at a 1.5. You're pretty much picking up who's going to win, all right? Total points at 43.5. Public bet percentage here, 58% of the bets coming in on Jacksonville. 72% of the sharps are on Houston. That's crazy. 53% of the bets here. On the side of Jacksonville to cover, 72% of the money. Sharps again on the side of the Texans on the road. Total points, 77% of the bets, 71% of the money on the under 43.5. All right, it's seeming like they think this is the Texans of last year. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And Jacksonville, like I said, Jacksonville's a tough team to trust. They should have won that game against Cincinnati, especially with Browning coming in. But Browning is better than what you expect. All right, that's what I was trying to tell you in the other one, in that last game preview with the Vikings. Browning is definitely better than what we've seen in his past. Okay, but this is a spot here. If we're looking at the injury report, Jacksonville Jaguars. Wyatt Milliam is going to be out of this game. They're O-linemen, but there's a lot of guys missing from the O-line from the Texans. Okay, looking at their injury report, Jalen Smith is going to be out of this game. We already have one of the worst offensive lines anyway, again, in the Houston Texans as well. The only positive news here for the Texans is Christian Kirk is going to be able to play in this one, their number 2 wide receiver. So that thing should be opening up for him and Nico Collins. So hopefully he has time in the pocket here and CJ Stroud to get the ball to these guys. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be in some situations where they can definitely have CJ Stroud struggle. I do like the total over in this game. I think the Jaguars are going to be able to put up points with their offense, and I think the Texans are going to as well. But at the end of the day, the question mark with this decision making with the Texans and that offensive line in key situations, I'm telling you right now, Jaguars are gonna figure it out to play coverage and rush their four and get home on CJ Stroud, and they'll have some success in that fourth quarter. All right, so give me the Jaguars on the money line as the main play. Secondary play over 43.5 in the total. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. In the Lincoln Financial Field here, we have the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the LA Rams. Both teams undefeated. This is one of the early prime matchups here between the Eagles and the Rams that we get here in week 3. Looking at the current odds, Eagles minus 190, Rams on the comeback at a plus 155, point spread at 3.5. All right, 44.5 is the total points. Looking at the public bet percentage here, 92% of the bets, 88% of the money on the side of Eagles for the point spread. 65% of the bets coming in on the minus 3.5. That's the public. 63% of the money here coming in on the Rams with a plus 3.5. For the total points, 82% of the bets, 81% of the money towards the under, 44.5 in the total. All right, now when you get Titans here facing each other, two teams that are dominant and strong, we get a situation where it seems like it should be a defensive matchup, but I think things are going to open up here. All right, two strengths here offensively on both sides. Their defense will be exposed, all right, on this front. All right, so if we're looking at the injury report here, looking at the Rams, we have a doubtful with Steve Avila. That's going to be a big loss on the O-line going up against that front. Questionable tag on Brandon Fisk. Nick Hampton is going to be out there, outside linebacker. For the Philadelphia Eagles, Will Shipley, their backup running back, is going to be out. And you got a Q tag on Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback. But in this one here, I think that the strong offenses here is going to lead to things opening up. Both teams are top 15 in the league in scoring points. They both score over 22 points here. We got the strong passing game from the LA Rams, and then you have the strong rushing game from the Eagles. All right, so this one here, love the over 44.5. That could be my top play. That's definitely going to be a play that I'm going to take during this weekend here, over 44.5. For that point spread, that field goal, that's a tough one because they get you with the 3.5. If it was 2.5, I would feel a lot more confident, but I'm gonna just take the win. Ultimately, I like the Eagles to get this win at home against the LA Rams in a high scoring affair, okay, between these two teams. All right, Eagles on the money line, main play, secondary play, over 44.5. I love this game to go over. I see Jalen Hurts finally throwing some passing touchdowns as well to go alongside with that. In Bank of America Stadium here, we have the Carolina Panthers 0-2 going against the Atlanta Falcons 1-1. Looking in this NFC South Division matchup here, we have the Falcons as favorites on the road, minus 250 with the comeback of the Panthers at a plus 200. Point spread at 5.5. Total points at 43.5. Public bet percentage here, 92% of the bets, 93% of the money all over Atlanta. For the point spread, we have 66% of the bets here. Public is all over Carolina to cover. Sharps are all over Atlanta to cover. 81% of the money coming in for Atlanta to cover that minus 5.5. Total points, 87% of the bets, 83% of the money on that under 43.5 in the total. All right, very interesting to see about that. All right, both of these teams, we had a strong performance from Atlanta against Minnesota, and then Carolina got blown out early by Arizona and then came on late. So we saw some positive things here offensively from Carolina. Hopefully that can translate into this game against the Falcons. They are going to have to deal with a Falcons pass rush that is really ascending here. Very young, but is ascending. Now, injury report for the Panthers. Patrick Jones is going to be out, the outside linebacker, and Treshaun Wharton is going to be out yet again. That's 2 weeks in a row. Their newly signed D tackle is going to be out. And this is the reason why that This Panthers run D is bottom 10 in the league. They brought in Tershawn Wharton to help shore up that. You're missing a linebacker and a D tackle. That's not going to help things going up against Bijan Robinson. All right, everything else is fine here on the side of Carolina. For Atlanta, there's going to be no AJ Terrell, their stud cornerback. Jamal Agnew is out. Casey Washington out as well. These are some backup wide receivers. And then Mike Ford is questionable, their other cornerback for the Falcons. All right. Now, in this matchup here, Falcons are in a real good spot. Defensively, Carolina struggles, like I said, bottom 10 against running backs. That's great for Bijan. Also, Panthers struggle against opposing tight ends. They're second worst against tight ends, giving up yards. So Kyle Pitts, this is a real rare spot that he's in, and that can definitely step up and have a huge game here. And then alongside, you still got to worry about Drake London. So it's a lot of things to answer here. Panthers on the other end, I think they can put up some points here against the Falcons defense. As long as they give Bryce Young enough time here to get the ball to Tet. McMillan, like I said, AJ Terrell is out. That's a positive for Tetero, McMillan, and Hunter Renfrow here, who is definitely a guy that can get open real easy, quick, short passes, and he can definitely take advantage of the secondary as well. So I like the over 43.5 in this game. But ultimately, I like the Falcons to win. All right, so main play Falcons on the money line. I'm not going to. If I had to choose a spread, I would say the Panthers cover the 5.5. So we'll do it like this. Main play Falcons on the money line. I'll take the minus 250, have it as a parlay piece. Panthers, if you want the better value, is plus 5.5. And then for the total, love the over 43.5 in the total. I think both of these teams can get going offensively. In Raymond James Stadium here, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New York Jets. Buccaneers are 2-0. Jets are 0-2. Looking at the odds for this one, Buccaneers are big home favorites, minus 300, with the comeback of the Jets at a plus 240. Point spread at 6.5. Total points at 43. Public bet percentage here, 97% of the bets and money towards the Buccaneers. For the point spread, 62% of the bets, 54% of the money on the side of the Jets to cover 6.5. And for the total points, 85% of the bets and money towards the under 43.5. All right, we're going to keep it a buck here. Looking at this injury report, we're going to go through this really quickly. For the Jets, no Tony Adams, no Justin Fields, no Jermaine Johnson, no Kene Nguanu, no Josh Reynolds, and no Jay Tufele. All right, all those guys are going to be out for the New York Jets. They're missing a lot of guys defensively, quarterback as well, and wide receiver. Buccaneers are dealing with their own issues. Emeka Egbuka is highly questionable here. He was able to get a limited practice on Friday, but you saw him limping on that Monday game. Didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday, so he's going to be very less than 100% in this one, and only leaving Mike Evans as their main wide receiver here. For Chris Godwin, he's out. Tristan Wirfs is out. Still, I thought he was going to play with the limited, but no, he was not upgraded to full practice. He's going to miss this game as well. And that's where we really get a spot where this is a way that the Jets can stay in this game, okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers are missing a ton of linemen, all right? We go to the reserves right here, the injured reserves. Luke Gadecki, their stud tackle, out. Cody Mauch, their stud guard, out. And then I said Tristan Wirfs, their stud tackle, out. So they're missing both tackles and your starting guard. Charlie Heck isn't good at all as well. You moved them over to right tackle. This is a huge question mark. And I just went on a whole rant about the Texans. They didn't need the blitz. You just bring your 4 guys and you'll get to Baker. Very same thing here for the Jets, okay? Will McDonald should be able to eat in this game and get pressure. Quinnen Williams should be able to eat in this game and get pressure on Baker Mayfield. Them 2 alone should be enough, all right? This is going to be an ugly game here. Like I said, Justin Fields is out, so this is Tyrod Taylor, game manager. They're going to focus on running the football. The lock of the century on week 3 is the under 43 points in this game. Give me the under 43 and under 43 total, hands down. Hop on that right now. Love that total. All right. Secondary play is going to be the Jets plus 6.5. I cannot trust the Buccaneers in that offensive line with more than a field goal. All right, that's way too many points here. Give me the Jets plus 6.5 in a situation that they have to show up. And it's a very similar situation as Miami here. Like, you got to show up and play well. Give me the points here. That's the secondary play. Love the under total in this one of 43 points. Last but not least, here we have Washington Commanders going up against the Las Vegas Raiders here in Northwest Stadium. Here, both teams are 1-1, but one team here is dealing with a major injury. We'll get into that in just a second. Looking at the current odds, Commanders are home favorites at minus 155, with the comeback of the Raiders at a plus 130. Point spread at 3. Total points at 43.5. Public bet percentage here: 90% of the bets, 84% of the money on the side of Washington. For the point spread here, 68% of the bets, 53% of the money all on Washington to cover. And for the total points, 86% of the bets, 85% of the money towards the under 43.5. All right. Now, injury report here. Looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, Brock Bowers is going to be fine in this game with his knee. Everyone else is fine except for Richardson here, the cornerback. He is questionable. We'll see if he's going to be able to give it a go. Remember, this defense here for the Raiders is very shaky. They do have a solid pass rush with Max Crosby, but that secondary is a little bit of a question mark, as you saw last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, they got pieced up a little bit, but it was just the dominant. The Chargers are on a different level. How large their line is. They got a lot of big guys, and they can run it down any team's throat. It's scary what they put together in Harbaugh in that running game to go along with the pass game and Justin Herbert. But for the Commanders here, right now we're waiting on information about John Bates. He's out. I know he's out, and I know Noah Brown is out. So Jalen Lane, their rookie wide receiver, is going to have to step up in this spot. Deebo Samuel should be fine. He had a personal matter. He should be fine in this game. Obviously, Austin Eckler's out for the year, so that's going to bring up Jeremy McNichols. He's going to be able to go here. He's a special team guy, and they're going to be able to use him, Chris Rodriguez, and JCM, Krosky Merritt is going to be the three-headed running backs for the Commanders. And like I said, Jaden Daniels is out. All right, so Marcus Mariota is going up against his former team here in the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so this is an interesting storyline. Last week we had a struggle from Geno Smith, and he had all those interceptions, and that's why the public and sharps are all over the Commanders. Even with the out of Jaden Daniels, this line really didn't move much once Marcus Mariota was announced as the starter, and I think that's a mistake. All right, Geno Smith, obviously he's not that bad. That was just a bad performance against the Chargers, and you move along and you go into the next week. This is a veteran here that has upside. We saw Geno Smith throw for over 300 yards in that first game. This team is a team that's going to pass, definitely. Also, this is a team here in the Washington Commanders that can't stop the run as well. So that's going to be a real big question mark here. Could this be a spot where Ashton Jensen gets going and helps Geno Smith with the run game? As you can see, rushing yards against 104.5 against per game. So this is a spot where the passing game can get going, and for the running game get going for the Las Vegas Raiders here. This is an offense that can definitely pass the ball with Chip Kelly. This is not the same secondary as the Chargers with the Commanders here at all. All right, so I think there's a ton of value on the Raiders with the +3. That's going to be my main play, Raiders +3. I think there's a misconception when we're coming into you got a backup quarterback here and Geno just having a bad game, and everyone, the public and everyone is just going to hop on one side. All right, that's not fair. All right, Raiders +3 is the main play. Secondary play will be over 43.5. I think both of these quarterbacks get going. Mariota is a solid backup, and then Geno Smith will show up and show out here against the Commanders. All right, so that's going to be our breakdown for the early slate on 1 o'clock. Let me know in that comment section down below if you agree or disagree. We can definitely debate about that. I want full conversation down there. If you're watching the video, go ahead, comment anything, and I'll definitely get back to you guys. Remember, sign up for that Patreon, get locked and loaded for all the plays on Sunday as well. Click that link provided down below. You're going to get full access to daily bets, future bets, and access to that group chat that goes off 24/7. This is your boy Chef D. I'll be back very soon, and peace out.